Jay again, sizing up Murphy. Drives, floats, hangs, and scores on the turnaround. J-Dub way behind the three-point line and hits way behind the three-point line. Got blocked. What a rejection by Holmgren. Standing tall like a wall.
This is New York. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, coming to you Wednesday, August 28th, the last podcast of August. Thank God. We are brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network, and I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. Got my guy, Nick Crane, here tonight.
The man in the middle.
We also have Taylor Peterson.
We're almost there, like you said, Jacob. Almost there. One more month.
It is about to be the month of, I guess training camp doesn't start in September, but Media Day will happen in September. So we're getting close to basketball.
October 1, baby.
Speaking of basketball, we're going to talk about some of that tonight with the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's why we are an Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Before we do that, though, if you are interested in joining up with us this season, partnering with the Uncontested for what should be an incredible season. We are actively looking for partnerships for the season. Hit us up, theuncontestedsports@gmail.com. We'd love to chat with you. With your business, we always want to support local Oklahoma City businesses. So reach out. We'd love to get something set up. That would be great. Speaking of podcasts, Nick, we've been doing this for a while. You have a favorite uncontested moment?
There is a lot. I think the cop-out answer is first Summer League. Like, Summer League is still fun, but that first one was just like, just didn't know what to expect. And that was one that, like, we got the weird wristbands that nobody at the arena knew what they were. And so we could go anywhere. And we're just like sitting around with celebrities. It was interesting. That's a cop-out answer though, because that's like a big moment. I would say the Perry Jones interview. Not that it was like a crazy good interview or like there was any like breaking news we got out of it, but that was an early indicator that like the pod might be able to do something. Like, we're still just a bunch of guys talking about the Thunder, to be clear. But back then, we were definitely just some guys talking about the Thunder. And it's little moments like that build credibility and are like milestones and what we've accomplished that I look back on and cherish. So that's definitely one.
Taylor, do you have an answer?
I was thinking about the Antonio Daniels interview we did at the press. I think that was our first one ever. And I'm trying to remember, but I think that might have been the first time that Nick and I got to meet Jacob, Kamiar. I think it was just us four in person, right?
I think you're right. I remember the first time I met Kamiar in person, I thought, whoa, this man's way smaller than I thought he was going to be. Love you, Kamiar, but I thought you were going to be like 6'4" when I first.
You were laughing because you see him in the chat.
He's just like, he's got like the facial hair and he's confident as hell in everything that he says. Even when he knows he might be wrong, he's going to say it in a way that you're like, damn, that guy's right.
You and Kamiar have a lot in common.
Maybe. I don't know. But I thought he was going to be a huge dude. And not that he's like tiny, but he was just, whenever it's all relative to what you have in your head.
Well, and for what it's worth, the picture of us with Perry Jones kind of makes us all look tiny.
Yes, it does.
So, I don't know what my favorite moment is. We've had a lot of really good ones. There's a lot of like fun jokes that we've had on the pod. A lot of cool like live shows we've done. I don't know. Some good stuff.
There's some stuff we can't really share on here, like from early in the podcast, but some of those are some of my, like, that's the hardest I've laughed during the podcast.
Any favorite? I personally, living in Dallas, have not been to any watch parties really. Any watch party that sticks out is like, holy crap, this was special.
It's a good question. Probably the first Prairie one we did, I thought was awesome.
That was fun.
It's a lot of
That was
fun.
really fun. And then
the
Bar
only
K.
win, Bar K, because that was the only win. That was the second game of the season last year against Cleveland, where Chet had like 7 blocks.
The comeback game. And just seeing like the amount of people that came out for that, and
how
that was
hyped
really
people
fun.
got. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Love it.
Been a decent time podcasting with you guys.
How many years?
2018. It was February of 2018 when we started. It's another memory I thought of when we all like kicked it off. This is before our Justin Peabody, and before Scylla joined, but we had Justin Hickey, and we all did like a couple minute like blurb, and we put it all together for like an intro video. I came across that here a couple months ago and just thought it was hilarious, like how far we've come. It's pretty fun.
I've got a question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
And I'm calculating it on the fly, so you're gonna have to like bear with me as I get through this here. So we started February of 2018, according to Taylor. I don't know if he's right or wrong. We're gonna have to go with it because he's got a better guess than I do.
Right.
How old was Nikola Topic when we started the podcast?
12.
7.
7. Okay. The answer is 7. Taylor, what do you? He's not a.
Right on the heels of Taylor saying, "I'm always right."
Oh my god,
That's true.
bro. He's not 14. He was 12 months, 5 years, and 22 days when we started this podcast. So he was. I don't know, Jacob. You know better than I. What grade are you when you're 12?
Probably 7th, 6th or 7th.
That is
Maybe that's what I was thinking.
insane. That he was in 6th or 7th grade when we started this podcast, and now he's sidelined in a Thunder warm-up suit, probably this season. I don't know if he'll wear street clothes or if he'll like sometimes wear the warm-up.
I wonder what his street clothes look like.
Like Goku.
Don't think he's a
drip
drip god.
bits.
I don't think he is either. I think he will. I think he'll be better than Poku though. Poku had some weird fits.
That's true.
Weird.
Mick brings up a good
shirt.
memory in the chat. He says, I distinctly recall listening during the Poku draft. The Poku draft was the first time we ever did a live show. The first time we ever had our faces like
really
out during a podcast. Yeah.
That's crazy. Interesting.
Huh.
Before that, we never saw each other whenever we podcasted. We were just on like an audio feed.
I forget we were on what's that app called?
It was just audio only.
Yeah, it was called.
I don't remember.
You could see we could see each other's like wavelengths, and you could like raise your hand to say I want to talk next. But like
I did not miss those days.
Every show was like, oh no, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. Oh no, you go ahead, and talking over each other
And we felt like that was such a big upgrade from being on whatever we recorded before then was
Zoom?
Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did. No, we never did Zoom. I think we did Skype.
Maybe.
Good times.
I can't imagine going back to that now.
Hell
Agreed.
No.
Maybe my favorite podcast memory is Chet Holmgren live stream draft.
That was a ton of fun.
The shenanigans at pick 11 and 12 was a great time.
Nick Jordan in the chat says this sounds like you guys are doing your last podcast. No, I'm
leaving. This is my retirement pod.
We thought Jacob was going to be late. So my idea for some small talk to kick off the podcast for one of our last off-season podcasts, we're getting closer and closer, was to ask Nick. It was just going to be Nick and I about his favorite Taylor Nick memories from middle school and high school. So we'll
save that for
we saved that
pod that we got the 2-man. If Jacob, to be clear, if Jacob retired, I don't know if the show would go on. So
we just call it quits.
Go on.
It would not.
You guys would not continue without me?
What
if I die next week?
Bro, hosting is hard. Like when I have to do solo post-game pods or like on a random Wednesday, someone's like, hey, can you host? It's tough.
Yep.
Keeping someone like Taylor on track and not going down rabbit holes and facilitating.
I've had plenty of Taylors in class before.
You're like running point guard, but I don't pass.
We've done this
so I'm
before.
like, how do I do this?
It's very true. Very
You're
true.
asking. You're asking.
Hey, speaking of not passing, have I told you guys that I'm going to play in a basketball league?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Coming up in October, right?
Mm-hmm.
you won't be as successful as me. I got 3. No, I got 2 championships in 3
Yeah,
seasons.
that's not happening.
2 losses over 3 years total, both in the playoffs. Yeah, pretty good track record.
I am adverse to trash talk. I do not like confrontation. I do not like people not liking me. I'm gonna talk some shit in this league, though.
Oh, bro, I'm the opposite of you. We were about to get in a fist fight last week in our game.
I love
like that's all I'm good for. I'm like sitting on the bench talking crap to players and like, bro, you're on the bench. I'm like, yeah, but I'm still in your head.
The first
Goddamn
time
right.
I get a Euro step layup, I'm not even going back on defense. I'm taking my time down the court, just Euroing the whole way, holding the left hand up.
That's hilarious. I forget you're a lefty.
Oh yeah, got that James Harden game.
Got that
All right,
Kyrie.
let's talk some basketball, boys. There has been, first off, there is nothing to talk about. We could talk 2K ratings, but I wouldn't die next week. I'd die tonight because I'd take this knife and I'd stab myself in the eyeball.
Where'd
I
that
do
come
not want to
from?
talk 2K ratings. We are going to talk about some superlatives.
Mhm.
There has been this thing going around Thunder social media. It's like a what do you want to call it? Like a chart, a
grid?
graph, a grid where you put like faces on it of different players based on different criteria, different superlatives for players in Thunder history. Well, being the content pirates we are, we stole that and we added some stuff to it. But we're not going to talk about it from Thunder history. We're doing this season's Thunder team. And for what it's worth, I think there are more slots than players on the roster. So we're going to have to double up a little bit.
Is it a rule on the
We
the
can double
grid?
dip.
Can you not double dip in the real
Well,
game?
we
on
have
Twitter?
to, or
No,
we're going to have
you
blank-
can. I mean, if you look at Thunder Reddit, they have like Kevin Durant's best shooter and best paint scorer, and
I'm gonna
all
be
kinds of
honest.
stuff.
I have never been on Thunder Reddit in my entire life.
Just NBA Reddits in general are kind of a cesspool. No offense, Thunder Reddit, but it's kind of a cesspool.
Haven't been on in a long time. Used to be a really cool place to have
there,
like
like-
good discussions.
Or like, I'm assuming the answer is yes. Like on Twitter, there's like big names that like people gravitate towards as like personalities, and like it's the same on. There's people. Are there people on Reddit that like everybody knows, but like nobody on Twitter knows them? Is that a
It's a good
thing?
question. I don't know.
There probably are some, but it's more so like the specific Reddits you go to almost like chat rooms, right? To like post your different conversations.
Weird. I'm a novice on that. I'm a novice on YouTube. There's people every year at Summer League that like be walking around the concourse and someone's like, "Oh my gosh, that's that guy from YouTube. Has like 500,000 followers. Never heard of him. He's like an NBA content guy." And I look him up on Twitter. He's got like 800 followers. I'm just like,
Yep,
it's like a different world every platform
Mhm.
you go to.
crazy. But that's kind of how this all started. Apparently, it got kicked off like from different NBA Reddit. Reddit, I don't even know what you call them. And then it made its way,
Subreddits?
yeah, subreddits. Thank you. It made its way to Thunder Reddit, and then eventually its way to Thunder Twitter.
Do you think there's
So-
ever been a Reddit thread just talking shit about us?
Yes, I hope there has at least.
Same.
All content is good content.
Okay, let's get to the grid, shall we? Nick, I believe you have the spreadsheet. You are the chief spreadsheet man. Also, Meek Leak in the chat says that he found us on Reddit, and
He found us?
yeah, like I had posted something promoting the pod on
Oh.
Reddit, and that's how he found us.
No
and he
way.
says 100% there are people who talk shit about us on there.
That's
Perfect.
sick. Shout out y'all. Can quite and ask for the listeners, when people talk shit on us, send us screenshots via DM, because I'd love to read them and laugh at them. I would like actually enjoy that.
And if you get on and defend us, I will mail you stickers.
Or
There
don't.
you
Just
go.
send us the screenshots so we can laugh at them.
Well, I'll still send you stickers.
They're on Thunder Reddit.
All right, so our categories tonight, gentlemen. Nick, will you read through the categories for us, please?
Oh. It's like, is he gonna ask me to read all 20 of these categories? Yes, I will.
Yes, he is.
I'm gonna go vertical instead of horizontal to mix things up here. Most underrated, funniest, best passer, best handles, most Rizz, most overrated, most annoying, best perimeter defender, best shooter, most likely to request a trade, just best, most potential, best rim defender, best in the post, surprise starter in the playoffs, worst, most wasted potential, most athletic, best role player, and surprise camp cut. Let's
I love
not
it.
start top left because I think that's lame. Let's start somewhere else and fill it out in a random order.
You know what
Perfect.
really bothers me is this is a 4x5 and not a 5x5.
Well, that's
We added stuff to it.
It's
That's
kind
what
of
happens.
pissing me off.
here's how we're gonna do this.
It needs to be like a bingo card.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get over it.
Jacob's OCD is flared up.
Jacob's like, Nick keeps talking to me in these crazy ways today.
Nick came at me sideways today in the group chat.
No, that's actually how I talk to people very often because it's a joke. I just had never done it in that group chat before, and I was like, holy shit, Jacob may not know I'm messing around here.
I can confirm this.
You should be in our high school group text, and that's mild. How we're gonna do this is we're gonna go in order. We can snake it. We can just do round the horn. I guess snake. I don't know. It makes sense with 3. And it's almost like Jeopardy. You pick a square. You give us your take. We debate it. We say, all right, we all agree on that one, and we'll write it in. So we're not going to go in any order. We're not going to start any place. Jacob is going to pick the first square that he'd like to choose. Give us his answer to that one, and we'll determine if we agree and what we land on.
I will take best in post for 500, Nick.
Okay.
I took this one because I think this one is the most interesting one. Yeah, people in the chat saying we need JD here for like the Rizz sounder and like some background music. JD has his weekly sickness, so he is out. Hopefully he'll be back on Sunday. Best in the post, I feel like is a very interesting one for this current Thunder team because there's nobody who really operates in the post that much. I think general thought might be like, oh, Chet, because he's got like a turnaround J. I don't know if I'd put Chet there.
Well, to be clear, just a caveat. This says post does not say low post, mid post, high post. It's just a post.
I think Shea is an interesting answer here, for sure. Dub typically doesn't post up. Dub is typically off the dribble in a pick and roll or cutting. He's typically not catching it like anywhere on the post back to the basket then facing up. I don't feel like. Am I right there? I mean, a little bit, but
I think kind of mid post he faces up a little bit, but it's definitely not like a go-to move for him.
Yeah, for sure.
When he gets downhill, he's going to the rim and trying to finish around the rim. We see the explosive dunks.
And he loves the midi pull-up. But I don't feel like he's like post pull-ups.
Correct.
I mean, you have like your kind of traditional big and Hartenstein. There's a lot of really interesting answers here. But I'm going to go with Jalen J. Will Williams.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting that.
The reason I am choosing J. Will, it says best in post. It doesn't say at what. I think he is the best player on the team to get the ball in the post to create open looks for others, whether it be like a DHO, whether it be a backdoor cut, whether it be a face up and a pump fake and a drive to the basket. I feel like J. Will is maybe the guy who's most comfortable operating in that spot and specifically playmaking for others from that spot. So I'm going to go J. Will for best in the post.
My only pushback, just from a volume, I think he's good at those things you just described, but 55% of his shots taken last year were 3-pointers,
Mm-hmm.
which means it's not a prevalent part of his game. I know you
Well,
can
not where he's scoring from.
for sure. You didn't account for facilitation. I would not choose Jay Will.
Who would you choose?
I might choose Shea. Like you mentioned him earlier. He just has that nasty mid-range kind of back you down Kobe turnaround. And if we're talking about like an unguardable move and like there's countless moments where like you can like when you think about Shea game winners and big buckets, like you're like that's one of those moves you think about.
Yeah.
I just think
I'll be honest with you, I didn't go with Shea because I feel like we're gonna put Shea in like 5 of these.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Is he the most annoying or the most overrated or the worst or the most wasted potential? Like maybe not.
I like that we're all interpreting this differently because when I saw this go around on Thunder Reddit and Thunder Twitter, I kind of thought the same thing. Like the first idea I had, best in the post, I thought of like a big man. So I don't know, Steven Adams and his cancer. But when I kind of thought more about it, I think it is most efficient around the rim. I actually tried to look up these stats and it's very hard to look up. And y'all don't pay me enough to do so. So I quit there.
We don't pay you at all, brother.
Shh. I'm going Shea as well. I just think his ability to get to the rim and score in the post, regardless if it's a big on him, regardless of who he switched on to, it doesn't matter. He's going to be able to get to his spots. I think it was the PG podcast, him and Chet talking about his ability to get to the rim with the herky jerky, the just unorthodox movements that he's able to utilize to get to the rim. That's why I had Shea here.
We can go with Shea. I also just want to be on the record that I do not like the term herky jerky. Not a fan.
Not a jerky guy?
Don't like the herky and I don't like the jerky.
You sure?
I'm 100% sure.
Taylor. Never mind. We'll move on. I was going to get into the rim percentage stuff, but we can move on. So
put Shea down for best in the post.
Got you. Taylor, you're up next for choosing your square, and I'll change the color of the square as we do it so it's easier for you to see what's been done and what has not.
Let's go with most athletic. I think this is going to be kind of a weird one for this team because it's like we keep talking about. We call it like Thunder 2.0, but it's a different era of team building from what we've seen in the past. I think when Thunder fans have been going through this on Reddit or have seen it on Twitter, it's like the explosiveness. It's the fast twitch. It's the Russell Westbrooks and honestly the Hamidou Diallos. That's where this gets really interesting. Like I'm still kind of stuck on this one. I think the obvious answer is probably J-Dub just because we see him be more explosive and him being able to do a lot of things, but you could take this in so many different directions. I mean, like trying to think of some bench players. For the sake of the podcast, I'm going to start us off with J-Dub, but I'm curious if you all have any other candidates.
I think, why am I going blank? What do you call it whenever it's like an award show and they have like the pool of like 5 or 6 who could win the one award? They're not
like
candidates. What are they?
Nominees?
Yes, the nominees. The nominees for most athletic, I think, are J-Dub is on that list. I think my guy, Alex Caruso.
Caruso is going to be my name.
Sneaky athletic.
I think
just actually athletic.
Dort and Kaysen also belong on the list.
Kaysen was the other one I was thinking of too. Those are good ones.
I would go J-Dub or Caruso.
I think I'm with you.
Taylor said J-Dub to start. We'll go J-Dub with the finish.
Nick Jordan in the chat says Isaiah Joe could also fall in this category. He's got kind of that
He does.
scrawny, high-flying athleticism.
Yep. That left-handed dunk. I'm going to go.
Jeff Green knows a little bit about that.
He does. I'm going to go. Most underrated. And I'm going to take Kenrich Williams. And my reasoning is everything is relative to recent history. I think a year ago, he's like so universally underrated that he's not underrated. Like, I love when people on like NBA engagement accounts like, who's the most underrated player in the league? And you go look at the comments, like the guy's name that pops up most is quite literally not the most underrated because everybody thinks he's most underrated. By definition, he's not underrated. He's actually like someone people know about. He had a really bad season last year.
Your description right there. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
You're talking about Aaron Wiggins.
That's what I was thinking of too.
Aaron Wiggins was a guy who was underrated, and the pendulum has swung the other way. I'm not going to say he's overrated.
Totally.
Everybody knows Aaron Wiggins, which
Yes.
kind of removes him from the underrated category.
Exactly. And so I think Kenrich is a guy that, and I don't listen to podcasts, but I could be wrong. If you listen to all the Thunder podcasts out there, they're talking about like the upcoming season and how it's going to play out and key performers and levers to pull. I'd imagine Kenrich's name doesn't come up ever at all. It doesn't on ours very often. And I think he's very easily a guy that we've forgotten about because his season was down. And come December, we could be talking about him again as like, holy crap, this guy is super impactful. And so for that reason, I'm picking him.
I like that. Sean is in our chat saying Aaron Wiggins, and don't say anyone else. But just to Jacob's point, like when every person pulled around the league is asking for, the most underrated player on the Thunder, and they're all saying Aaron Wiggins, is he really underrated anymore?
No,
I don't think that's the case. And so I like this answer. I want to give an honorable mention. I don't think it really counts because we're not going to see him this season. But I think a year and a half from now, when he's getting some playing time, Nikola Topic, if we're doing this exercise like a year and a half from now, will be up there because I think that was a highly underrated draft pick from St. Presti, somebody who can really contribute. Like you think about this team now, post Josh Giddey, and we want the ball in J-Dub's hands more when Shea's sitting and, whatever it may be. But they really don't have like a true backup point guard. And I think Topic is going to fill that role immediately next season and long term. So he doesn't really count because we aren't going to see him this season, but I think that's at least worth an honorable mention in this category.
Jacob, you cool with K Rich, or you got another name to throw in there?
I agree with K Rich.
Okay. All right. It is back to the host man himself.
Let's see here. I am going to go with best rim defender. And it's one of two, right? It's Chet or Hartenstein. I don't have like their last season or career numbers pulled up. But this is an easy one. I think it's Chet.
Yep.
Generational. And I think the fact that you can maybe not argue one of the two, because I think Chet is just flat out a better rim protector than Hartenstein. I think that you have the fact that you have two guys that are like in that category is going to make this team disgustingly good.
Yeah. Agreed. We will go Chet, and we will move on to Teddy P.
I like that for Chet. Let's do a fun one. These have all been like basketball specific. I like the one that Nick added. Mr. Rizz himself, Nick Crane.
That's Jacob. Don't get it twisted. He's got a sounder. He's got a sounder after him.
There it is. Well done. Acapella is even better than the Sounders. Let's go with most Rizz on the team.
He's 69 God.
There are some options here. I think when you think of like the swagger, the ladies' man, you think of Shea, right? But I think Chet.
I'm not sure if I go Shea with Mr. Rizz. I think Chet's a good candidate.
Chet, J-Dub, also a little underrated in that category.
J-Dub's got some Rizz.
I think Hartenstein. I mean, he's dating the model.
He's got married. His wife is a model.
Wife. They were recently engaged.
Jeez.
Nikola Topic, make the Rizz cut. No, okay.
No, I
Does
think
Poku
this
still
one,
count?
I think this one's Aaron Wiggins.
Aaron Wiggins might have
Wiggins.
some Rizz.
I've seen a lot of females in the timeline talking about Aaron Wiggins. I'll just say that.
Alex Caruso's got to have some Rizz, right?
There
Shut
you
up!
go.
Just because you look like
There you
him,
go.
you want him to be the Rizz god.
Representation's important, Nick. All right. I mean, I think Jay Will's got some Rizz.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Got that deep voice.
Jay also has a deep voice, though.
Is the answer Mark Daignault?
Jeez.
Sam Presti.
Sam brings the ladies home and hits the little drum number on them.
Jeez.
Who are we going with here? Nick Jordan in the chat says Nick Gallo.
There's no comp.
Oh, man.
Taylor, you make the decision. It's your square.
I like the Aaron Wiggins one. That's kind of an underrated one. Let's go with Wiggs.
Okay. Is it
I
me?
like it. Yes.
Let's go surprise starter and playoff. I think that's actually one that we could debate a little bit.
Okay.
Because we don't know who the starter in the regular season is going to be. So there's a lot of options for surprise starter in the playoffs.
But before we hit this, since you brought it up, I have a question I've been stewing on.
Oh, God.
I'll drop it on the pod here now. There were two big additions in the offseason that weren't from the draft, right? Caruso, Hartenstein. 0, 1, or 2. How many of them start? Of those two?
1. I feel like really confident about 1. Like I would put money in Vegas on 1.
Like at least 1 or just 1?
Just 1.
Okay.
I think we see both. I've been on this since.
You think it's a rotating starting lineup?
Depending on the matchup.
No. That's not what Jacob's asking. Unless
what are you asking?
Like on a regular night.
Oh, those two aren't starting together.
Okay, that's how I took it. Jacob, did you mean like who could
that's
get
what I meant.
starts? Okay.
No. I meant like on a start.
Okay.
No.
Basically, I'm asking: are they both starting together? Is only one of them starting, or is 0 of them starting? I think it's 1.
1.
Okay, continue.
Okay. Surprise starter. I'm gonna go with oh gosh, it's so there's so many options. Like it could be either of those guys. It could be Kaysen.
Is that a surprise though? If one
That's
of
what
those
I was going to ask. I'm not sure either would surprise me. Even then, like the pool we're picking from pretty limited.
and we're assuming health.
Totally, yeah. I guess whenever surprise, I guess I was thinking didn't start in the regular season, but did start. So like, Hartenstein could be a surprise because he didn't start all year, but he does in the playoffs. Or Caruso, but I guess if we're taking this at face value, it's like not one of the guys that you'd expect to maybe start in the regular season. Isaiah Joe is my guy, I think.
That was one I was considering.
And see, that's fair. I was going to ask, is Isaiah Joe considered a surprise? He started in the playoffs last year.
Well, we can't just
make a change. So
we can't just say Usman Jang. Like, yeah,
no,
that's a surprise.
Isaiah
It's unrealistic.
If you're telling me today on August 28th that you think Isaiah Joe is going to start in the playoffs, if you think that's yes, I could totally see that. This isn't a surprise. I don't think you could say, yeah, I could see that.
Agreed.
With the amount of guard talent, we don't even know if Lou Dort or Alex Caruso is going to start in the backcourt. You're going to tell me Isaiah Joe is going to start in the playoffs?
I mean, that's I'm just posing a question. Nick coming at me sideways all day.
I
today.
am. I got some beef
since this morning.
Some Wagyu Kobe beef.
Are you from the other day, Nick? Are you a New York strip guy? Or are you a ribeye guy?
Really neither. I'm a filet guy.
Oh, all right then.
It doesn't count. I mean, obviously we're all filet at the top of the list.
Well, not everybody. Like
we were discussing mid.
Can I be real honest with you guys?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think I've had a filet before.
Never.
they're smaller in size and like the ounce. I think it's a better taste. Like if you just want a big old slab of steak that's going to fill you up, like you go get the New York strip, and
or the T-bone.
You can probably get double the New York strip from an ounce standpoint that you can get in filet. Like filet is just a little guy, but it's so damn good.
Agreed.
Okay.
You got to do a filet.
My recommendation, shit, I forgot the word again. What's the word?
Candidate?
Nominee?
Or nominee?
Nominee. My nominee for surprise starter in the playoffs was going to be Kenrich Williams.
Oh,
that's a
surprise.
That's a great one.
I
was going to consider like Smoot in the chat, Case and Wallace, just because we've talked so much about, is it Lou or is it going to be Alex Caruso? And so like, I think seeing Case start in that role would be surprising, but the Kenrich one's great.
Just a
Kenrich
nominee.
would be surprising as hell. So that would be the biggest. If the question's biggest surprise,
well, I mean, that's like Usman Jang or Nikola Topic comes out from gets the boot off and goes out and plays, like we're not going that far.
Can you imagine? Just like, he's like,
he's
well,
just out
screw
there
it.
diamond dudes up all night. Makes Doncic look like a little boy.
Oh God. Okay. Taylor, the tiebreaker.
I like Kenrich. I think that's a great one. I think it's fairly realistic and definitely would be the biggest surprise.
K. Rich is the winner.
That's
big
it.
expectation. All of a sudden, we're a Kenrich Williams podcast. He's going to be phenomenal this year.
We were on it early.
I'm up next. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Best handles.
I was thinking about that one.
Who are the nominees for best handles? We are going Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Does Chet make the cut? I don't know. J-Dub. Caruso, maybe. Wiggins has a nice handle. Cason Wallace. Topic.
Topic does have great handles.
Topic doesn't count because he hasn't played an NBA game yet.
Okay. Well, now let me know that rule. Kidding.
Is it just Shai?
It's got to be Shai.
It's got to be, yeah. Yep.
All right. Easy enough.
It's got to be Shai.
It's got to be Shai. All right. Teddy Pender.
Let's go on the far side of, if we can call this a bracket or a grid, we have worst. I think on the template.
Under PR, now is the time to turn the podcast off.
That is correct. It makes it an interesting discussion. I think this was originally dubbed as worst starter, but it makes it way more interesting if you're discussing like quote unquote worst player. And there's, again, with a lot of these, a lot of different ways to take this. Like the easiest low hanging fruit are the rookies coming in that aren't polished and haven't played NBA games. We also could go.
This is 15. This is 15 man, by the way. So you got 14 options.
Yeah, you can't go with the two-way, guys.
Can't go with the two-way. Man.
Just
say it. Just say it. Just say it's Oos. The Oos is loose, for better or worse.
I agree, and I'm gonna say this. It's not because Oos is horrible. It's more of a compliment to the Thunder. Or if you go down their rotation, it's like you trust 12 or 13 guys in a playoff series in spot minutes. Like Jay Will's definitely down there because the team's so deep, but I'd trust Jay Will in a playoff series. Like it's just a deep team. Like we're talking about Kenrich Williams not playing in the playoffs last year, and then they added two awesome guys. Like Kenrich Williams, based on last year's performance, like the 12th or 13th man. But if you throw in the playoffs, I trust him 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So like
it's context. Like you're the worst on the team, but the team is really good. It's like
maybe the deepest in the league.
Nick is the worst podcaster on the Uncontested.
Yes.
But that's because we're a really strong team.
I'd be the best on Anyways, we can throw Oos here, and we can move on before we say anything too bad.
I think that's a fair way to look at it. Like, if you're the worst player on like the best team, you're still a really good player, right?
Yeah.
Still a lot of
he's got
potential.
a ton of potential. Like, no one's cutting him out. It's just like, if you're thinking about playoffs, which this team is, he's lowest on the list of who has proven they're able to contribute in that situation.
And a quick rabbit hole, just listening back to Chet on PG's podcast and just talking about how much he values this organization and how they'll always do right for you, whether that's with the Thunder, he said, or elsewhere. And he was alluding to Josh Giddey. I mean, Oos is in a very similar camp there for him to reach his full potential. Maybe elsewhere. Maybe it's not. But they'll do right by Oos. And like you guys said, it doesn't mean he's a bad player.
Percentage chance Ousmane Dieng is a wizard by the end of the season.
Who are they trading for? Kuz?
I have no clue. Just chance he's a wizard.
Oos for Kuz. Very low, because that would
4140, JD. 4140.
So damn specific if that was the team you went to.
I just feel like he's going to be a wizard.
Okay.
You're a wizard,
like it.
Ousmane. I'm going most potential.
Okay. Is it also Ousmane?
Could be.
Nominees for most potential. Is Shea still a nominee?
Yeah. Just because even if you're at 95% of your potential and you're already a top 5 player in the league, doesn't mean you're not most potential.
I think it's probably Chet. J-Dub goes in this category. Kaysen goes in this category. Topic goes in this category. I think those are the nominees.
This one's easy for me.
I think it's Chet.
It's easily Chet. Like the
Agreed.
unicorn. Like, if Victor Wembanyama was not in the league, Chet would be considered the biggest unicorn in the past 5 years. And like this, like the Victor talk would be Chet. Straight up. And even with Victor in the league, like I think Chet could still be a top 5 player in the league, and so is Shea right now. But I say at his size, what he could do is like Hall of Fame level if Chet stays healthy and develops the way he should.
You guys ever wonder why we call very unique players unicorns?
I've never had that thought, but enlighten us.
I think it's just because it's a mythical creature that
Correct.
doesn't really exist. Why did we choose unicorn as the mythical creature?
Could have been Bigfoot. Who else?
Dragon?
Yeah.
Jackalope? I mean, there's options. Why did we choose unicorn?
It's a good point. Good point. I think the fun thing about this team is just that there's so many candidates for this one, even if Chet's obviously the leader in this category.
That's what makes this team so fun.
Exactly. And we're talking about a team who was just voted by anonymous GMs and front office people in a recent ESPN poll as the team they expected to win the West. And we're still talking about how maybe none of these players, including Shea, have reached their full potential.
Totally agree. Chupacabra in the chat.
It's a good one.
All right. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll finish the other half of the superlatives. We will be right back. And we are back. Who is up next for selecting a category?
Is it me?
Oh,
wait. Before we select a category,
there you go.
Taylor needs to tell you guys something.
Was just about to put it in our private chat. My fellow degenerates, would you like an extra $500? I know I would. Go to bluewirepods.com. You have heard us talk so much about Blue Wire over the past couple of years. We're proud to be a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. Go to bluewirepods.com/survey and complete the Blue Wire audience survey about you and the podcast you're listening to, The Uncontested, for a chance to win a $500 gift card. The survey will help create a better advertising experience for audiences and in turn help this here show. That's bluewirepods.com/survey, where all you have to do is answer some simple questions. And I went to the link. They're very simple, very quick, and you could win $500. Make sure to read the full terms and disclaimer, plus complete the survey for a chance to win. bluewirepods.com/survey, and the link will also be in the show notes of this episode once we post it.
All right, who's up next?
I think it's me. I think. If it's not, we're gonna go with it. I will go with best perimeter defender. It's one of the best and hardest on the board. Nominees. I've got Caruso. I've got Kaysen. Got Shea. I've got Lou. I've got who else? Caruso, Kaysen, Lou, Shea.
I think those are probably the candidates. J-Dub, you could maybe throw J-Dub in the mix.
Should be in there probably. I'm going to go, my answer, which is not a confident one because they're all freaking awesome, is Caruso. Only because as good as Lou is on the perimeter, Caruso is better against players taller than him. Like Caruso can guard a 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" wing.
And Caruso's a little taller than Dort is.
Yeah, he is. But he also guards bigger than himself, better than Lou does, I think. Which Lou is also awesome at that. Not to like discount him. Caruso's also back-to-back defensive team. Lou's never made one, which a lot of that's political and who you're playing for, and got to make a name for yourself before you become a perennial guy. But I'm gonna go with Caruso here.
I think you're correct. I think Caruso's the right answer. This, to me, goes back to the worst argument. Just because you didn't get picked for best perimeter defender, the team is littered with elite perimeter defenders.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's all relative.
When you don't vote Lou or Kaysen as your best perimeter defender, you've got a really good defensive team.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm next.
Yes.
Best role player.
That's fun.
Nominees for best role player would be Isaiah Hartenstein, Kenrich Williams, Kaysen Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, and I think that's the list.
Caruso?
See, I think Caruso's role is going to be much larger than just quote-unquote role player.
You think his role will be more than Hartenstein?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Caruso's like 25 to 30 minutes a night regardless. Do you guys have intrusive thought here real quick? Do you guys have little fidgets you play with while we podcast? I can't sit still. I have to have a fidget. I know Justin has a fidget.
I've got the this is the cover for my webcam, and I mess with it the entire show.
Taylor?
I think for me, it's just like my leg shake. I'm a leg shaker.
It is not a good thing that my fidget toy is a knife.
Isn't
That's not good.
I
I
keep
agree.
spinning this thing in my hand. I'm like, I'm gonna.
pieces.
This is my Lou against Dort. Best role player.
That was a great aside.
I'm gonna go with Aaron Wiggins because I think a role player. There's two types of role players. There's a role player that fits a specific role, and Isaiah Joe. He's a role player. His role is come in, shoot threes, be good at it. I think Aaron is that jack of all trades kind of guy who can come in and fit the role needed for that night. And I think that's such a versatile player and such an important piece to have. You need an extra wing defender? Get Aaron Wiggins out there. You need someone who can cut and move off ball to get the defense moving and get you some easy layups? Put Aaron Wiggins out there. You need someone who can play make a little bit in a pinch? Put Aaron Wiggins out there. You need to space the floor a little bit and get some three-point shooting? Put Aaron Wiggins out there. I think the versatility of Wiggins makes him such a great role player that he is my answer here. But I am willing to hear rebuttals.
Rebuttal. If Caruso doesn't count, I don't think Hartenstein should count either, for what it's worth.
That's fair.
Agreed.
We won't count either of them. Neither of them win. It's Aaron Wiggins.
I'm gonna go Kaysen.
Okay.
Because 6th most minutes regular season, 5th most minutes playoffs. Data speaks for itself. Who's the
At
better
what
role
point
player?
does he become not a role player and more
Well,
just like a staple?
Until he is, and he's part of this exercise. I think
It's
he's
true.
the answer. And I think Wiggins is awesome. Like he should be in consideration. But until Kaysen is no longer in the nominee list, it's hard for me to pick anybody else because he is, by definition, chosen by the team as a more impactful role player than Aaron Wiggins.
That's why I love these like super vague categories because we can take them all different ways. And I think like with Kaysen, the stats to Nick's point back that up. He played more than Wiggins did minutes per game in the playoffs. Van Skeet is such a huge Two Cranes fan. I love it.
My guy, Fred.
Freddie. And I also think like Kaysen possesses so much more potential. We're talking about like his on-ball reps and some of his creation that he can possess for others. Like I think there's a lot more Kaysen to be unlocked for this team moving forward. But when I think about a role player, I'm with Jacob, somebody who's versatile. And we saw lineups with Kaysen that didn't work. Kaysen's smaller. He's a great defender on the perimeter, but sometimes you need a little more versatility in those lineups. When that happened, Aaron Wiggins was the guy. It wasn't Kenrich Williams. It was Aaron Wiggins. And so because of that, I think I'm siding with Jacob and going Aaron.
Put him down, Nick. Aaron Wiggins, best role player.
All right. Where is that one at?
Bottom right. One up from bottom right.
There it is.
Here we go. Bang.
So I am up, and I'm going to go with the best shooter on the team. This one's probably pretty easy. We're all going to probably pick the same person. When I filtered down to 3-point percentage leaders on the Thunder last season, it's kind of funny going through the list. You guys want to guess who was first? And again, context doesn't matter here.
Is it Wiggs?
No. Oh, he was second.
First
Who
and
was
what?
first? First and 3-point.
3-point shooting percentage.
Wiggins was second at 49.2% on 1.6 attempts per game, which is honestly.
Is this going to be
solid.
like some super small sample size?
No,
guy?
it is.
Oh. So I want you guys to guess. It's really fun.
I was going to say Dub.
He's also up there.
If it's super small sample size, I don't know. Bertans?
Super small sample. No, like even smaller.
Is this player still on the team?
No.
Then he can't be in part of the exercise.
I know, but it's fun. Fun to think about.
I don't know. I'm not having fun,
It's
Taylor.
Gordon Hayward.
Oh, shut the hell up.
51.7% from 3 on 1.1
4 attempts
per game. 1.1 attempts per game.
How many total?
10. You
You
know what the most impactful thing Gordon Hayward did on this
Doesn't tell me
team? You
Nothing.
saw it in the intro. He set a screen one time. So Dub could get a 3.
That's why this is fun. Now you go on the list.
There's
Aaron
nothing
Wiggins.
fun about Gordon Hayward. Don't mention that name again.
Jeez.
What's Voldemort on Harry Potter? Since you mentioned Harry Potter earlier, him who should not be named. Anyways, going down the list, Aaron Wiggins, was at 49.2% on 1.6 attempts. Lindy Waters, 43.5% on 2.2. J Dub is up there at 42.7% from 3 on 3.4 attempts. That's actually really exciting.
Okay, so who on the current roster is your nominee? Because
I'm going.
Like
I know
9 guys.
it's still Isaiah Joe. Isaiah Joe was at 41.6% from 3, but on 4.5 3-point attempts per game.
Yes.
On a pretty big sample size. That's absolutely absurd.
Could-
And we saw him go through some cold stretches too. Like imagine if he's just more consistent throughout the regular season.
Just hear
Crazy.
me out.
Oh God.
Could it not be Shea or Dub?
No. Shay, no.
Dub, maybe 42.7%.
It doesn't say
on
best
3.4.
3-point shooter.
No.
Best
Shay
shooter
is,
in
best
general.
shooter.
Shay is not the best shooter on the team. He's the best shot maker. Different than
Okay,
shooter.
that's fair.
Different
What
than
about
shooter.
Dub?
Dub, I think that's why I said his name. I think he could be up there. but I'm still going to go Isaiah Joe. Like, if you're going to do a shooting drill or you want an open three, I think I'm taking Isaiah.
Okay. I just wanted to put it out there.
No, it's a good point, but you're 2 against 1. We're going Mr. Joe.
I mean, Chet had like a 62% field goal efficiency or something like that, like leads all Thunder players ever. But again, I wouldn't consider him the best shooter on this team.
Give it a year.
Could
be exciting.
Most annoying.
Is that what you're going with?
That's what I'm going with. Most. Is it my turn or is it Nick's turn?
That's your turn. Go ahead.
Your turn.
Most annoying candidates.
Nominees.
Is nominees. Thank you. Is this like personal opinion for most annoying, or is this like what NBA fans interpret as most annoying?
It's up to you.
You tell us.
I think if you were polling fans of other teams, Lou and Chet go at the top of the list.
It's Lou Dort, if that's what we're going with.
Definitely.
See, most annoying on court and like
just most
kind of
annoying.
floppish, Lou. But I think the What a Pro Wants commercial really rubbed people the wrong way.
Go look at Mav's Twitter, and Lou Dort
no, I mean, I don't want to get cancer tonight. So
Lou Dort is
small sample size.
Is one of the most disliked players I've ever seen.
I agree with that. Now, to Jacob's point, though, if we're going off our personal opinion while I'm sitting on the couch watching Thunder games, Thunder PR, plug your ears again, but watching Ousmane Dieng drive to the rim or not go down and try and get rebounds and the turnovers and the lack of assertiveness.
I get you, Taylor, but I think Nick is right. Like he's got to. Now, if you want to throw out old players, give me Gordon Hayward.
If Oos was playing 25 minutes a night and you're like, why is he playing? And then I agree, but like he's not playing because he's doing those things. So
I think Dort is the answer here because I think that's what most other NBA fans would say.
Yes.
And he does still annoy me when he drives to the rim like 110 miles per hour and just throws some brick off the backboard and doesn't hit the rim.
Yeah. I'm going to go best passer. I'm going to go J-Dub.
He was my candidate here. My nominee.
Taylor, what do you think? It's an easy one. We moving on?
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
Tell us who else would be nominees in that category.
Shea. That's about it.
Shea. But Topic, we haven't seen him play, so that doesn't count. But again,
don't tell me Caruso.
Honorable mention.
What if I said Hartenstein?
I was wondering about that.
Or Jay Will.
Relative to size, yes, but we're not doing relative to size.
They aren't making full court transition passes.
It's easier to pass when you catch on the elbow and your defender's 2 feet off and you're just surveying cutters than it is like on the move, drop a dime with your left hand between 2 guys for a cutter. It's just different.
And if Josh Giddey were still on this team, I think it's easily Giddey.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You ever wonder, another intrusive thought, maybe I shouldn't go down this one. Never mind. Let's move on.
Moving on. TP, you're up.
So we have most overrated left, best, most wasted potential, funniest, most likely to request a trade, and surprise camp cut. Chat, those of you in the chat, tell me what you guys want to go with, and I'll go with it. First one to answer. Ready, set, go.
Chat's on like a 15-second delay for what it's worth. So we're just like going to be sitting here waiting.
Should I get back to my intrusive thoughts?
Yeah, that's true. We could go down that rabbit
hole.
Most wasted from Smoot. Most wasted potential on this current roster. That is kind of tough. Oh, man. I mean, Ousmane Dieng's like, again, low-hanging fruit. I mean, who else is kind of a nominee for this? Jay Will, potentially. He showed some flashes early on and then just, can't be a regular rotation piece necessarily, given the depth of this team. Doesn't say necessarily a lot about him.
Let me give you a different way to think about it. And this is not, for the record, me saying this guy is wasting his potential at OKC because he's flourishing. He's going to be a freaking superstar. Wasted is another relative term, like in a
Mhm.
different reality where this guy is not to say this guy's bad in OKC or should be somewhere else. I think about J-Dub on a team that's tanking and what he could be. As great as he's in OKC, I just wonder what that dude would be in Washington.
I
if he
think
played
that's
there last
fair.
year.
I think flip side of the coin on that one, though, Nick, is I think J-Dub is in a position to really have an opportunity to maximize his talents for the most part. Whereas if we did this exercise 4 months ago, I think the answer is Josh Giddey, and it's not close because he is not in the role to maximize his
Yeah.
potential.
But
Agreed.
he's not on the show or not on the team
On the team.
So-
Yeah, no, that's fair.
or on the show. Both.
I agree with that. I think it's a fun way to look at it. But even then, like what Dub's been able to do on this roster, I just don't think we can put him down this category. Wiggins is another one people put in the chat. It's interesting.
So tell us. We're going to go with your answer and move along.
I'm going to stick with Oos.
Okay.
Stick with Oos. Just not a lot of running room for him.
Usman Zhang. Jacob, bring it.
Chat wanted to do surprise camp cut. So let's go
Okay.
surprise camp cut.
Yeah, thank you for taking that one.
You're welcome.
We can bring two ways into this one.
Oh, I don't
Or
want
those
to do
surprises, though.
that. I don't want to do that.
I think anybody getting cut would be a surprise.
Fair.
I think if it's like surprise, I'm going Dylan Jones or Jalen Williams.
Oh my God. Dylan Jones would be insanely surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those.
I think
yeah.
Jay Will would too. I'll go Jay Will here because I think he could be a cut because they have two bigs already. I think you always want a third, but I think what he means to the team, as far as like a culture standpoint, I think a lot of fans would be very upset. I'm going to go Jay Will for my surprise camp cut.
To be clear, the team has 14 players in a roster. They don't have to cut anybody.
Correct.
Jay
They
Will
can
would be
pick somebody up.
Jay
True.
Will would be like an insane.
None of these are getting cut.
surprising.
Exactly.
Nobody's getting cut. Nobody's getting
Exactly.
cut. It's just a question on a grid.
Totally 100%. Just a question on a grid.
Yeah. I don't know if I could disagree, to be honest.
I mean, Kenrich fell out of the rotation. He's mainly a locker room presence at this point. I'd put him in the same category as Jay Will, but again, that's all with the disclaimer. Neither of these guys are getting cut.
He's a nominee.
Nominee.
We're just gonna say nobody here.
That's fair.
Nobody.
We're cheating, but I think that's fair.
All right.
You're not trying.
I'm up next. We're gonna go best, and we're gonna go SGA, and we're gonna move on to Taylor.
Boom.
Are we sure it's not Chet? I'm just kidding. Let's move on.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Which makes it fun.
Nick in the chat says surprising cut is J-Dub with a fresh fade.
Oh, that's well done.
Love
I
it.
like that. Like that a lot.
Caruso comes in with a rat tail.
Ew.
Dude, I would get if Caruso comes to camp with a rat tail, either traditional down the middle of the head or like Jedi braid.
Wait.
I'm
There's a such thing as a traditional rat tail and then like an alternative rat tail?
Yeah, the alternative is the Jedi braid right behind your
What
ear.
the hell
If he
is
comes
this
in with
podcast?
either, immediately I'm going to the tattoo shop. I'm getting a Caruso tattoo.
Oh my God. Let's hope that didn't happen. Any kind of rat tail is not acceptable, Caruso.
Would you be against if I had a rat tail, Nick?
I wouldn't like it.
You'd have to be able to grow one first.
What are you gonna do? Like shake it
get one on-
around,
I can get one on the side of my head, braid it, tuck it behind my ear.
put some beads on it and shake it? Like what are you gonna
Hell
do?
yeah, brother.
That's weird, bro. That's weird.
Can you imagine Jacob on a pickup basketball court?
Oh God,
Little
no.
rat tail
Hey,
going?
gets long enough, I'll dread it.
Oh my-
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Okay.
Starting a trend. Let's go. I don't want to keep giving myself the hard ones, but like the most interesting left, I think, is most likely to request a trade. On this roster, that's kind of like tough to think about. I think nominees for me would be somebody like Isaiah Hartenstein, who, again, won't be trade eligible until a certain point because he just signed a new contract. But if he's not promised the role that he was given, and that contract is pretty tradable, especially with it only being 2 years. The chat comments, incredible. Hartenstein would probably lead this list for me.
Most likely Hartenstein.
I don't know. That's where it gets tough. Like
Most
we can say-
surprising would be, I think most likely is like Kenrich Williams.
I agree.
Yeah,
Kenrich
or
Williams is the
Oos.
answer.
Or
If Kenrich
Oos, or
is
somebody
having
like
another
that.
down year, and he's like maybe
He
it's
wants to
just
retire in OKC.
Or Jay
Yeah.
Will, if like he's not getting any minutes because the other two bigs.
I don't think Jay will request a trade. He's too young. I think Kenrich is the answer here.
I'm trying to
because
think of something fun though. Like, what about Lou? If he's pissed off because Caruso is starting and Lou's kind of fallen in
But
the
is
rotation,
that likely?
is that
Taylor?
likely?
Not
not-
surprising.
Most
Not
fun
likely.
to request a
most
trade.
likely to rotate.
It's Kenrich.
Fair.
It's Kenrich.
Read
That
the
is fair.
category, Taylor.
Kenrich wants to retire in OKC though. He said it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but if he
Kevin
has
Durant
four,
said that too. So
he has 4 years left on his contract and is clearly out of the rotation, and the situation
He loves
not
Lake
fitting him
Hefner,
well.
the lakefront,
Great,
walking
he can
around
buy
with his
it. He
kids.
can,
Louis on the lake,
restaurant
baby.
he has
scene in
enough money to
OKC.
buy a freaking mansion on Lake Hefner and not even touch his pocketbook. Like he's good if he likes Lake Hefner.
he's gonna buy the lighthouse at.
Just trying to make this
Hefner.
fun. Party
Well,
poopers.
Taylor,
I'm more of a Lake Thunderbird kind of guy.
I don't know what that is.
True Norman.
It's where they
True
dump the
Norman
bodies,
Moore.
Nick.
Oh my god.
100%. It's where they dump the bodies, and it's where my tap water comes from.
Gross.
I'm gonna go funniest.
There's only one answer here.
It is Jay Will.
No, it's not.
What?
Aaron
It's
Wiggins
not.
is pretty
Aaron
funny.
Wiggins is
He's
on
pretty
record.
funny.
You ask any player on the Thunder.
I've never seen Aaron Wiggins be funny, so I'm
No.
not counting him.
You ask every player on the Thunder, current or past. It was always Trey Man and Wiggs. Trey Man's not here anymore.
And they're best
It is
friends.
for
Does
sure.
it
Wiggs.
count? I've never seen Wiggs be funny. I'm not counting him. My vote is Jay Will.
I'm going Wiggs just because I've heard it 7,000 times from Thunder players.
I
I
agree.
guys think someone's funny when you've never heard him be funny.
We've seen Wiggins be funny.
Give me an example, Taylor.
Every single
Where'd the
Instagram
receipt?
post from any of his teammates.
It's Wiggins. It's Wiggins.
Any of his TikToks or whatever that he's
I would
featured
put
in.
Dub over Wiggins.
No, Wiggins is the funniest guy on the team, and it's not close. It's not close. But you get to answer most overrated, Jacob.
I just did funniest.
Aaron
They get-
Wiggins.
Oh, you did most. Yeah, Taylor, you're most overrated.
No,
I'm
it's
most
Nick.
overrated.
No, it's not. It's Taylor.
See how he
Oh.
does this? Just like
I
he'll
hate
never
you,
do the rapping over
Is
the
the answer
instrumental
here?
intro.
Is the answer here Alex Caruso?
I think it's Isaiah Hartenstein.
It's a good one.
I think they're both nominees.
No. Here's
Yep.
yes, but here's why I go Isaiah. Caruso, 365 days ago, is still awesome defender, coming off first team all defense, impactful player, well worth his contract. Hartenstein, 365 days ago, is like backup big, worth $5 to $10 million a year. Got some skills that can help. Like full transparency, I think he'll be awesome in OKC. There is 100% a world where 6 months from now we're saying, "Oh shit, that's a horrible contract." Like 100% chance that could happen.
I don't know if I'd say horrible contract as much as like he's obviously a backup big.
Bro,
He's
if
not going to
he-
be starting.
If he goes
2
back to
years.
if he goes back to Hartenstein of last like 365 days ago, it's a helpful player. The dude's making 30 mil. That's a horrible contract.
You can trade it, especially this team.
To
With
who?
picks. Anybody, a rebuilding team who's trying to take on contracts for
Detroit
additional
Pistons.
picks.
And you're going to
Like-
attach picks to it? That's a horrible contract by definition. So for me, and I think again,
For what it's
On the
worth, I
re-
don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either. On the record, he's going to be great, I believe. Like he fits the scheme, everything's going to work out. But there is a non-zero chance that this is a humongous mistake.
For sure. And just to backtrack, earlier said there's a 100% chance that could happen. And I think you meant to say there's a non-0% chance that
No,
could
no.
happen.
No. I said there's a 100% chance maybe I said something that didn't make sense. I'm
Yes.
saying there's a 100% chance that. I guess that doesn't make sense. There's a 100% chance that there's a chance it doesn't work. So I guess
There's
that's not
a
actually
chance it doesn't work. There's a
chance.
non-0%
Yes.
chance it doesn't work.
Yes.
There's also a
there's
non-zero
100% chance it doesn't work. We're in trouble. And by we, I mean the team and the guy writing the check.
I think Hartenstein will be awesome, but there is a real possibility that he is a awful contract in 6 months.
I just think on paper, I agree with you that like he's probably overpaid for his value. And the Thunder had to do that. They needed to do it in order to get him. I think it was great for them to do so. But even if he plays great and kind of like we expect, I understand that maybe that contract's a little inflated.
I wish for once in my life I could be overpaid. Just once. Nick, as we close out the show tonight, will you please read our answers for our superlatives to the fans?
I had to read them all, and I got to read them with names next to them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Most underrated, K. Rich. Most overrated, Hartenstein. Best SGA. Worst, Oos. Funniest wigs. Most annoying, Lou. Most potential, Chet. Most wasted potential, Oos. Best passer, Dub. Best perimeter defender, Caruso. Best rim defender, Chet. Most athletic, J-Dub. Best handles, SGA. Best shooter, Isaiah Joe. Best in the post, SGA. Best role player, Wiggins. Most Rizz, Wiggins. Most likely to request a trade, K. Rich. Surprise starter in the playoffs, K. Rich. Camp cut surprise, nobody.
I like it. If you are watching this on YouTube, drop a comment. Let us know which of ours you agree and disagree with. If you're listening to the podcast on your podcast platform of choice, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you think of our list. We will also tweet this out, I'm sure. Thank you guys so much for listening to The Uncontested. We will be back with you on Sunday night. So make sure to tune in 9 p.m. Central Time, around 9 p.m. Central Time. I'm tired of getting bullied in the chat when it's 9:05 and we haven't started yet. So knock that shit off. I'm teasing. We love you guys. Around 9 o'clock, we will be live, 9 Central Time on Sunday night. So come hang out. Have a good time. We will see you guys then. Until then, as always, Thunder up.